All right, it's the C Show. We're starting off here. John Cena is already having a big year, right? He's doing his farewell tour. He does his last Royal Rumble. He's got a main event at Wrestlemania. But already this week, today is the 31st of March, the first week of April, whatever. He's already having a pretty big week here at the end of March, beginning of April. So Coyote vs. Acme, the Looney Tunes movie starring him and Will Forte, it's the live-action animated hybrid film, is getting released. If you are not in the loop here, what happened was this film was basically like completed 100% ready to go. Warner Brothers said, nah, we're gonna shelve this and we're gonna save a bunch of money on our taxes again.
Do you know what about it like let them save on taxes? Like if it's already done, like I feel like if they're just like, well, we're not releasing it, like wouldn't they only get money releasing it? Explain it to me like I'm 5.
That's the problem I don't understand. It's a write-off in that like they're saying like, oh well, we spent all of this money on it and then we're not releasing it, so it's actually a loss because if we would have released it, we would have made money on it. And that's their argument, and it's like,
oh wow,
but it's Warner Brothers under David Zaslav, so they would have like released it in 20 theaters and then released it on Max and be like, well, the box office was really disappointing. And of course, this is Looney Tunes, which I mean, I grew up watching Saturday mornings as a kid. Classic, legendary stuff. But this was basically going to be like the reintroduction of the Looney Tunes characters for the 21st century, for Gen Alpha, whoever it is these days. And so it basically it involved the plot of the film, as I understand it, is Wile E. Coyote sues the Acme Corporation. Exactly. And Will Forte plays Wile E. Coyote's lawyer. And so it's like this whole like man against corporation, very America. But the distributor Ketchup Entertainment, they are also known for releasing other independent films such as Michael Keaton's comedy Goodrich and Ben Affleck's thriller Hypnotic, as well as Jessica Chastain's drama Memory. So I'm glad that they're branching out into something with more than one word in the title. This is very big for them. But this is also really big. This is a win for consumers, and this is a win for fans, because this movie, like, they spent like $90 million on it, and they were going to put it on the shelf, just can it, and just say, nah, nobody's ever going to see it. But now people are going to be able to see it. It's really exciting. And
do you think that
yeah,
John Cena's kind of comeback tour and explosion in popularity due to the heel turn and all, do you think that had anything to do with this?
Yeah.
Like that moved the needle for him, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There was already a lot of needle moving because I think around Christmas, Warner Brothers was like, they had gotten so much bad press about it that they were like, okay, fine, we'll go to Netflix, we'll go to Paramount, we'll go to Amazon, and we'll offer it to them for them to distribute it and stream it or whatever. And like, for whatever reason, Warner Brothers wasn't happy with the price that like they could agree on. They like Warner Brothers was like, well, we want you to pay X for it, and the other studios were like, you already like it was insane. It was insane. But basically, yeah, it was starting to look like it was going to get lost in an archive somewhere, and then it would be found in like 30, 40 years, or it could just put on a hard drive and delete it. Do you know about the, I think it's Toy Story 2? You know the story about Toy Story 2 almost getting lost?
Is that the one where because I believe someone's on maternity leave?
Yeah.
So they had an old file like at home that hadn't been touched because they were on maternity leave?
That's got to be scary.
Imagine being that guy.
And the other piece of good news here from John Cena is this is an exclusive from People magazine. I feel like such a journalist now. The headline is John Cena reveals past skin cancer diagnosis as he teams with Neutrogena on sun care campaign. Now, this is all a big ad for Neutrogena. This is just PR. The subtitle is the actor and WWE superstar who stars in the brand's sunscreen you can't see campaign tells people that sun exposure caught up with him. Yeah, so it's a new formula sunscreen, face liquid sunscreen, blah 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 blah. quote, I grew up in a small town next to Newburyport and Salisbury Beach. The Massholes call it the North Shore. Some of my earliest memories of summer are of small carnivals and people walking the beachside. My mom, Carol, raised 5 boys, and I'm pretty sure she just wanted to keep us alive and healthy. It talks about like how he fell in love with the sun when he moved to Florida in his early 20s. He had neglected his skin. I was stubborn. I didn't want to have a routine, and I also thought the problem would never reach me. And it's one of those things where I had a ton of exposure with minimal protection that caught up with me. So there's not too many other specifics, but again, just like apparently Cena had skin cancer in his 20s and survived. I mean, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Fighting any type of cancer is a battle, and surviving it is a whole other thing. And the notes that I have here is just like a lot of things make a lot more sense now. The Make-A-Wish. It makes so much more sense now. Like that brush with death, he's just like, yeah, no, I've got to give back as much as possible.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I did not make that connection.
Yeah, no, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, ding, ding, ding. That was really it for me. Yeah, so I just thought that was really interesting, and good on him for bringing awareness to an issue. I know that it's like timely. It's about to be springtime, summertime, all of that good stuff. But yeah, no, just another wrinkle in the life of John Cena, and just like I think it really just makes it adds a lot of context to what he's been doing in his career and like his personality.
And it just shows that maybe there's a reason that now he's a bad man.
How so?
That was another one of the songs off his album they did his theme song of. With the mic in my hands, I'm a bad man. Cruising through the streets all my life, I'm a bad man. I'm a bad man.
I gotta go back and listen. I
was listening to it over the summer because I was just like, oh, why not? I had like the clean version of it. My mom let me buy the clean version of it back in the day, and I would listen to it.
Now that you're almost 30, did you listen to the explicit?
I did, and I understood why my mom didn't want me, the, I don't know, maybe 12-year-old at the time, to hear some of the wild stuff John Cena put on a track.
Speaking of putting wild things on a track, this is The C Show. Friday, March 28th, was SmackDown at the O2 Arena in London. I don't know if you knew this. The O2 Arena does not have a permanent tenant. Most of the time, Raw, they are in like a basketball arena, hockey arena, something similar to that. The O2 Arena does not have a permanent tenant like that, but it is the 3rd most busy arena in the world.
Huh. And no permanent acts, no residencies.
I mean, they'll have a residency, but I'm like talking like a basketball team.
Oh,
a hockey
you
team.
mean like literally a team that it's built around.
It's
and then it's in addition to
a netball team or something, you know.
Yeah.
Google netball and tell me they know anything about sports. The show starts off with Cody showing up. I didn't know Cody wore casual stuff on TV. Like, I know, like, at home, he's probably got, like, a pair of sweatpants or something, like...
Oh, you didn't think he just always had the suit on everywhere all the time?
I mean, yeah, like, he always wears a tailored suit, and I figured in London, you know, Savile Row, the long history of English tailoring, he would be wearing, you know, attire, or, like, either ring attire, where he's got, like, the jacket, the trench coat jacket, and the mask and everything, or just suits. I thought that was it. But, yeah. No, basically, Cody, I think, is everything that Conor McGregor wants to be.
Ooh,
yeah,
I like that.
With the suits, yeah. And like also, Cody is normal. There was the little kid dressed up like Cody that was really cute. He saw him again today on Raw, and I don't think Cody recognized that he saw him on Friday as well. And he was like, at the end, he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." The lower third was like WrestleMania main event, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena, presented by Drumstick Ice Cream Treat.
Hell yeah.
The London crowd was off to a great start. Cody Rhodes was a common refrain we heard all weekend. You know, and Cody immediately starts off with, "What do you want to talk about, folks?" and what the crowd obliges him with Cena sucks, Cena sucks. Just like he can't even speak without being interrupted, without the crowd chanting over him. Yeah, like he's tearing up because just like people chanting his name. Amazing stuff. And he says at WrestleMania 41, I will face John Cena. Boo! That's WrestleMania, but I'll be facing him face to face on Monday. And then Randy comes out, just surprisingly.
Let me jump in because my first thought, like I immediately thought of like a couple of things I thought Randy might do. So let me ask you, what was your first thought when Randy came out? Like, what did you think he was trying to accomplish going out there?
Okay, here's my first thought, and you're gonna be amazed and shocked at where it goes. Star Wars. Cody is Luke.
Okay.
And Randy is Han Solo. And he's coming in, and he's going to be like the anti-hero. It's a stretch, I know. But like this is like Campbellian mythology, where the hero is like faced up against this great evil, and he has to like team up with people he doesn't expect. Right? The rogue, but the thing is, Randy doesn't have like a familiar. He doesn't have a Chewbacca. Right, the rogue usually has the anti-hero rogue usually has some sort of animal companion.
Kevin Owens when they were friends,
perhaps. There's also usually a princess. There's the wise elder, etc., etc., etc. Right. So I literally wrote Campbellian mythology. Will Randy team up as the rogue to Cody's hero figure? So that's what I thought.
I thought a couple things. I'm like, are they going to show something farther if Randy snapped, where he's like, he's going to even just go on, like that's where he's at? Were they going to play it, like we'll talk about here in a minute, of kind of leading into what's next for Randy now that he's back? And then I was like, or is this just going to be some kind of big swerve and, either, and he's going to change the trajectory of something here? I thought a couple of things right away, and I was very excited.
Okay. That's good.
So
my other thought was, as soon as Randy came out, was, do I make you Randy, baby?
Oh my God.
Do I make you horny?
And we're still doing this. What, 5 of these now? We're still doing this? So Randy comes out and he says, I'm not a sentimental guy, but like for you, London.
Yes.
Right. Again, taking it all in again. Amazing crowds all on this European tour. Kind of sad that's over. I definitely didn't mind Raw in the middle of the afternoon. That when we talk about Raw later, like it was on 3, like that was awesome.
It was awesome.
He says, I remember Cody Rhodes. I remember you busting your ass. I knew you couldn't grow here, so you left. Yeah. And that took big ass balls. You single-handedly changed the business.
And I think that's a really important point. Like that's a great moral for most people. Like, I mean, for me especially, like I had to move away from home to like go and grow and be better. And like I know that's hard for people, right? To go from what the routine, the comfort of what's out there. It's raining tonight. Sorry, folks. But yeah, no, I really, that kind of hit me emotionally, where I was like, dang, I feel that. Cody, I think, is a key figure of this Renaissance era. You talk about like the Attitude Era, and you have The Rock and Triple H,
Stone Cold,
absolutely.
The Attitude Era.
Yeah, Stone Cold is the face of the Attitude Era. Like the Golden Era, Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, like the rise of the WWF in the 80s and 90s, even going back to like the NWA days, which we'll talk about soon on a Storytime episode. But like I think, I think Cody is really going to be a key figure as we move forward, and there's going to be a lot of things going on with him, and that's why I think so much of him as like a hero figure.
Yeah, it seems like you kind of be an idiot not to hitch your wagon to Cody Rhodes right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what are you doing? So Randy's talking, and they're singing. And did you catch where he said, "I'd sing along with you all, but then you would leave"?
Yeah,
that was so funny. I loved it.
I'm sure you have multiple male family members that you wouldn't stand next to in church because they know one note when they're singing. My dad is like that. And one time I got stuck between my dad and my grandfather, who also is
one note power players.
One note power players. So yeah, I feel it. And, do you remember the Hell in the Cell against Seth Rollins, which is an iconic moment? The torn pec. You stuck it out for your family, your dad, for the people. You finished the story, but there's always another story. You're in charge of your legacy. Again, like really powerful stuff when we talk about the WWE pro wrestling as a universal story. Like this is one of the things that really attracted it to me was like, this is if you're coming in and you barely know what's going on inside of like the overall story of wrestling, like that stuff's just really powerful. It's really driving character wise. It's really interesting.
And they do such a great job blending things that are true and finding a way to use them as part of a story. And again, sometimes I'm like, I don't know how Talon is okay with this. Again, I hope it is. Like, there's many stories from like the old times when they would do things like no matter how like uncomfortable or whatever it was, because like it got ratings or like so I hope that the superstars have like more say in that, what they feel comfortable and all. But like they do a great job blending the line. And again, not to jump ahead, but we'll talk about that on Raw later. Great episodes this week on both fronts.
Yeah, absolutely. 99% of the new era, the new interest in WWE, it's all you. Again, Cody is a key figure of the Renaissance era.
I respect you. I love you. And I'm proud of you. I don't know if I've ever heard Randy Orton say those things to anyone.
Wow. Yeah. No. There's a lot of people looking to hear that from a lot of people. Therapy. BetterHelp, sponsor us. I love you. I'm proud of you. But it's time for WrestleMania, and just immediately the RKO chants start. Is his middle name start with a K?
I feel like I've definitely looked this up before. I want to say it's Keith, but I don't remember if I started saying that as a bit. And then I forgot what it actually was and only remember the bit.
That's how like Punk always has different ways of what does CM stand for? Charles Montgomery. He says at WrestleMania, I'm going to kick Kevin Owens so hard in the head. It is Randall Keith Orton, so yes, okay, all right. I just thought it was just like clever. So I'm gonna kick Kevin Owens so hard in the head. I'm gonna beat Cena up and down the strip. After the smoke clears and the dust settles, Randy wants number 15, though. Basically basically saying, hey, after you win at WrestleMania, I want my 15th championship next. I want the smoke. I consider you an equal, but I'm coming for this. And then we hear the bagpipes.
Hold on. I got to give one more thing that he said.
Please.
So as Randy was talking, he's like, I won't kick you in the balls, but I will look you in the eye and tell you. And then we hear Drew, and I put Drew, and then I put a sad face emoji, because I'm very tired of this Drew.
I put Drew, LOL. Drew says, isn't this lovely? A couple of Nepo babies having a love fest in the middle of the ring. The best part about this was Drew trying to talk, and the crowd was chanting CM Punk over him.
He's not going to be able to get away with that.
He's not very happy about that. He says, Cody, Cena kicked you right in the twig and berries, which is one of my favorite euphemisms. The main event at WrestleMania should be Cody versus Drew. Timu, Undertaker, Damian Priest. He's still angry about that.
Oh my God. When he said Timu Undertaker, I almost died. I also appreciated how he told Randy that more people talk about his 5-minute and 46-second title reign than they do his whole Randy's whole comeback.
I feel like we've been talking way more about Randy than we have about Drew, and way more positively about Randy on this podcast. Kevin Owens might just have a point. And Randy, Drew says Randy looks jacked on the outside, but that back is hanging by a thread, and if you provoke me, I'll break it. At this point, Drew attacks Cody, Randy tries to RKO, and Drew escapes, quote, by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, bails hard out the ring, and but we find out very quickly that we will have Drew and Randy later tonight.
Yeah, no, and I had that on before you came over, actually, and that was really good. Just two big guys going at it. Okay, let's talk about some signs. Did you see the Arthur Morgan cutout?
No.
There was an Arthur Morgan cutout. My favorite one that I saw all weekend was She rocking On My Johnson till I Dwayne.
Hell yeah.
That was during Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly, the tag team championship match. Match started out strong for Pretty Deadly. Some great teamwork there before the break. After the break, Pretty Deadly tried to get the pin early, excuse me. But some physical dominance from Angelo Dawkins.
Oh, man, he does that neck breaker. That is so beautiful. And he moves just so well for a big guy. I love when he does dives. I love saying I really love Angelo Dawkins. Pretty Deadly also did that cool like catapult code breaker.
Yes.
Right where they threw him up like the double knees to the face.
Yep.
There is a point where Montez hits Kit Wilson with the From the Heavens.
That big splash.
Yeah, and he basically but they pushed Prince out of the way.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was supposed to, like Kit Wilson got hit from pushing Prince, which was funny.
Yeah.
And then like Prince pops up and rolls him up. And at one point, did they say Pretty Deadly did a move called the Spilt Milk? Did you catch that?
I don't think so, but
I couldn't tell if I was going crazy.
I'm not going to cry over it.
Street Profits hit the Doomsday Blockbuster and win.
Yep. The best part of that match, in my opinion, though, was when all four of them were in the middle, just going at it. I liked that. I always like that. That's fun.
Just trading soup bones.
Trading soup bones. Paul Heyman, Roman walk in. They get a huge pop, and then we have a backstage encounter between Zelina Vega and the Secret Hervis. Again, the Secret Hervis is Piper Niven and Alba Fry.
Alba Fire.
Alba Fire. Okay, excuse me. My autocorrect got me. Alba Fire. And again, they're doing the whole. Zelina brings up the fact that they look like the bootleg Men in Black and a big worm. If you remember the worm from the first two Men in Black, I've only seen the first two. I don't know about the third and the international. But I thought that was really funny. I thought that was good.
That was awesome. Men in Black, great shout.
Absolutely. So we lead into a tag team match between Kaden Carter and Katana Chance and Alba Fire and Piper Niven. Alba and Piper come out to Chelsea's music. The continual escalation of this bit is really funny, in my opinion. It's just really simple. It's just so simple. It's just, she's the president. Those are Secret Service guards.
Did you see when they went into the ring, Alba Fire patted down the ref?
Yes.
That was... Yeah. That was like you said, like commitment to the bit, like expressing it for like that was fantastic.
Yeah, no, and like they've got the right suits and the glasses and everything, so it's really good. There was some really cool early teamwork there from Kaden and Katana, and Piper Niven went flying before the break. At one point, there was great slams from Kaden and another accidental slam from Piper. Alba Fire broke up at least one pin. And then again, Chelsea just coming onto the apron, arguing with the ref. This allows Piper to do a driver into the mat and a win for the Secret Hervis.
And I get it. Yes, are the heels. Like, I think Piper Niven's good. I would like to see Piper Niven win clean sometime.
Yes.
Like, I think she's really good.
I love Piper Niven.
And then, of course...
say it.
And then, of course, then they also have to make sure that they jump them after.
Yeah, it just keeps going, and Zelina Vega comes out. Vega does that insane spin move on Piper and slams her down.
That tornado DDT. Again, last week they called it the satellite. I meant to look up if when she does it, if she patented it as that, or if that's slightly different than a tornado DDT. But yeah, that's always so sick. I love that.
And then we get the Secret Hervis beating down on Zelina Vega. That's just an easy slip, especially with WrestleMania. WrestleMania, brother.
Yeah, Chelsea comes in. She tries to hit the unprettier, and then that gets countered to a senton. Selena goes for the code red, gets kicked by Alba Fire, then hit with a big boy senton from Piper.
And then... going into that, we had Braun Strowman versus LA Knight.
2 notes off the top, if you don't mind.
Please.
First, I said, I see no way the bloodline does not get involved. And then 2, I said, well, this is definitely a tall versus not so small.
Right.
I wanted to know how big, because this size difference was still humongous, but I can't assume this qualifies for tall versus small.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I don't think so. No, unfortunately not. I would put L.A. Knight in the meaty part of the bell curve. Emphasis on meaty. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got some definition in those muscles. He looks good.
Looks great.
So yeah, no, I did also mention like Strowman was also, capitalizing on his size over LA Knight. The action went out of the ring there for a minute and kicks LA Knight down.
Oh my God, that big boot was vicious.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Knight gets moving around, gets a few punches in, but as soon as Braun spins up the Strowman Express,
Jacob comes out, cuts him off, and then attacks both of them.
Well, nobody saw him coming. He was wearing camouflage.
Of course not.
Of course not. He had that urban camouflage.
He picks Strowman up, hits him with a Samoan drop on the announce table.
Mm-hmm.
Knight comes into the ring then, tries to hit the BFT, and
Yeah.
gets a pop-up Samoan drop for his troubles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jacob then does a whole bunch of hip attacks on Strowman, and then 2 of those beautiful jumping moonsaults.
Yeah, the flying moonsault from Fatu on Strowman, that was crazy. I liked that. That was a fun twist. It was a nice way to keep it interesting.
Again, it just seems like they're setting up more 3-ways, and I'm going to lose my mind.
After that, we had a recap of the slap heard around the world. I don't think so. Like, I think we all know what the slap heard around the world was, because I'm a big movie guy. I don't like the Oscars. I think it's I've been to industry award shows. It's a circle jerk. Yeah, no, that's what it is. It's a bunch of people getting in a room and talking about how amazing they are. And the Oscars are no different than any other industry awards ceremony. But friend of the show, Matt Kime, literally texted me, and he was like, "Are you watching the Oscars?" I'm like, "I don't watch the Oscars. My blood pressure goes up during them, and I get angry because the right movies are never nominated." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, do I need to actually be watching the Oscars right now?" And you go back and you like the way that changed award shows and like how comedians were approaching them. There was a time where comedians were just like, "We don't want to do this," because like I don't know. I mean, most of them are drunk when they show up because they pregame or they're at parties and stuff. And I mean, it's a big celebration. I mean, there's the legendary story about Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the South Park creators. They showed up on acid.
Oh, guys.
They showed up on acid wearing dresses. And they were like, it was the worst. It was one of the worst decisions we've ever made because it's just terrifying. Yeah, no. So the slap around the world, you can call it that. It was a big slap. It's basically quoting. It allows Jay to cut a quick promo. Yeet. But then he runs into the Miz and Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy. Okay, never mind. Oh, yes.
Yeah, because he was like, my brother has his doubts.
Yes.
It's like, I'll bust Gunther's ass, and then Jay will at WrestleMania.
Jimmy cuts a quick promo for Jay. Yeet. Jimmy then runs into the Miz and Carmelo Hayes.
Mellow can't Miz.
Mellow can't Miz. Oh, okay. All right. But then this leads up to, well, the Miz says, "You're the other Uso. You're both sidekicks." That's very bold coming from a guy that was on the Real World.
They both just attached to the Roman Reigns trailer.
The lips on the trailer of the Bloodline.
There it is.
Yeah. He does pump fake Miz out, but that does set up Miz versus Jimmy Uso tonight, or Friday night. You're listening to this on Thursday, hopefully. Yeah. And then backstage, the Fatu Tama solo drama continues. Basically, everybody's mad.
Yeah, Solo is like, "Why are you doing this by yourself and not telling us?" Jacob's basically like, "I don't need to tell anybody anything."
Yeah, I'm going to do it with or without you.
Solo literally tells Jacob to lower his tone when talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jacob's like, "When it comes to Strowman, I will be the last man standing.
Yes.
So you better get in where you fit in."
Absolutely. And I need to start using that more often. Get in where you fit in. It's
I
great.
like that.
It's great. That leads into what I have to affectionately call Naomi's Joker tape. Because she's just like staring at the camera. It's a pre-tape. It's very cinematic, and she's like leaning into the caution tape aesthetic. Always been the woman to do the right thing. How could me attacking Jade be any different from me doing the right thing? How does Jade come in and take my place? It feels like a true crime documentary if the serial killer was producing it.
Do you see she was crying?
Yeah.
She had some tears.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
No, it was great. Don't get me wrong. But it was like real, like, you want to know how I got this tape?
No, absolutely. No, it was all the, how did Jade come in and take my place? Who has always had your back? Not Jade.
Not Jade.
And she's like, you teach people how to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done being underappreciated. My message to Jade, if you continue to be in my way, I suggest you proceed with caution.
Do Naomi and John Cena visit the same therapist?
Distinctly possible.
Like, I mean, like
WWE's probably got one on retainer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like a sports therapist. That's definitely going back to Triple H. Jade and Nick Aldis are also backstage. They have a brief interaction. Jade mentions to Nick that if I see Naomi, it's on site. Misha and BFAB are right around the corner, and they support Jade in whatever she does. So we get more Smokey 4 stuff, unless you had anything else there.
No, I have nothing else to add there. I think I was reading some things. I think I know what this is now from doing some research. Okay. So I don't want to tell you yet, though. I'm just kind of want to, because I want to hear what you have to say about what you're thinking about first.
Let me go through it, because we have my surround sound set up around us, right? So I literally went through. I went back a couple of times. I turned it all the way up, and I'm listening to it as closely as possible. So I think it's like related to Undertaker, because like there's all sorts of Undertaker like sort of aesthetic stuff. And then there's the weird distorted voice. You are as I was, as I am, you will be. There's a shadowy figure. I think it's Undertaker or something. What do you think?
So from what I've been reading, it's about Malachi Black.
Okay. Fill me in.
Former WWE guy, went to AEW,
Gotcha.
Wasn't particularly used well enough, right? Lots of different things, wasn't really happy, and he could be making a comeback. But he also is one that kind of plays into the supernatural of things, like, kind of those darker characters, like
Gotcha.
a little more leaned in Karrion Kross.
Okay. All right. No, and that makes sense with we got a reveal of something that's been taunting us, or not taunting us, but been teasing us for the past couple of weeks. That leads into our next match, which is Michin versus Charlotte Flair. BFAB accompanies Michin on the way in, and Naomi attacks during the intro. Just like we don't even get a chance to let this match start. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's literally still during their entrance. Charlotte hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah. And Naomi immediately throws BFAB into the announcer's desk, just like beating her, just brutalizing her. And Jade does come out. She comes out in like this yellow and black jumpsuit, looking like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. She does have a name in that film. It is The Bride.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, that was I heard them. I meant to write down who said that on commentary, but I thought the exact same thing when I saw her. I'm like, okay, she's hitting, like we said before, she kind of had her Jennifer's Body thing, like so.
And like Kill Bill is a two-part movie by Quentin Tarantino, where a woman goes on a tour of revenge to find her the people who wronged her, who betrayed her. It's been a minute since I've watched Kill Bill. I love Kill Bill. I like Quentin. They're based on these two films from the 70s called Lady Snowblood.
Oh
yeah, like the final fight of Lady Snowblood Quentin basically copies.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's when you watch it like in Lady Snowblood, you're like, holy cow, this is awesome. Highly recommended, folks. If you are a fan of wrestling, you will like Lady Snowblood. Trust me, it's on Max. I'm pretty sure.
So after Jade comes out, Naomi dips right away.
Yep.
Charlotte is like, I don't care. I'm starting my entrance. I'm not waiting any longer. I don't get paid by the hour.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And it leads to a very cool stare down between her and Jade.
Yes.
On the ramp. That seems like something that can definitely be coming down the pike that I think will be really good. People kind of keep asking, like, is Jade got any better in the ring? It's like, well, Charlotte's the one that can kind of show that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decide, well, Michin says she'll go.
Yeah.
Half-it match is still on.
Michin decides to power through. And Charlotte, tries to take advantage. She tries to finish off Michin early. There's an opportunity where Michin almost gets Charlotte against the ropes. And Michin even power bombs Charlotte Flair in the middle of the ring.
Oh my God, that sit-out powerbomb was nasty. And there was a point where I was like, Michin might win this match. Like, she goes for a finisher, misses it, and then goes for it again and hits it.
Yeah.
And the ref counts 1, 2.
But then Charlotte's toe is on the
Charlotte
rope.
just gets a toe on the rope.
Yeah. Apparently it was Michin's first match outside of the orbit of Chelsea Green since December.
That makes sense.
Yeah. There's a point where everything goes out of the ring, and Michin gets a kick, or she's trying to kick Charlotte and just kicks immediately the steel steps.
Oh yeah, like she was trying to kick Charlotte, and they're like, she might have broken a toe.
Yeah. This doesn't seem like fun. And then Charlotte back in the ring gets Michin into a fingering leg lock. Are we still doing phrasing?
The figure 8 leg lock?
Figure 8. Okay. Yeah. Nope. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But unfortunately, Michin taps out after this figure 8 leg lock. Wade Barrett, learn how to enunciate English, please. And then we get to backstage. As Charlotte Flair gets boos, the WWE Universe runs on Tiffy time. And so Tiffy gets cheers.
Oh. It's Tiffy time.
It's Tiffy time. Charlotte has more to lose here. Tiffany Stratton's just a rookie. If Tiffany wins, it's great for Tiffany. She's the rookie. She beats a legend in Charlotte Flair. If Charlotte loses, she loses to the rookie.
She loses to an undeserving, unoriginal, backflip doing, blonde hair having little girl.
Yes. Many things, if it happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas. Just like Charlotte's ego, it's going to be kept in Vegas. And my favorite part, do you have anything else before I get to my favorite part? The ending?
No, please, go ahead.
Where Tiffany goes, Toodles!
Oh, I do love the Toodles.
In a previous life, I had a colleague that would end calls like that, and I'd be like, no, you don't, no. It's like when you go to Canada, and they're like, cheers! And I'm like, we're not, where's the tequila?
Are we drinking?
Are we drinking? No, you're just giving me a check. We get a promo for WrestleMania After Dark, which just the history of this company. Is that something we really want to be doing? Just saying. I know it's Vegas, and it just feels like this was all stuff. Like it feels like they wanted to do Vegas for 40, and they just it just didn't line up. And then now they're doing all of this stuff, and it's like
all the stuff they still had in the chamber.
Yeah. Oh, Roast of WrestleMania and WrestleMania After Dark and like
Dark Side of WrestleMania.
Yeah, the WrestleMania After Dark and the Dark Side of WrestleMania and the Undertaker one-man show, and it's just like, okay, yeah, no, like Philly is a great town to do stuff in, but like it's also not Vegas. So I don't know. I'm happy for the WWE hosting WrestleMania in Vegas. It makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Just like
it's exactly what they want. It's a win-win, quote unquote, as corporate-y and all as they want to be. Like that's the spot.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I mean, like you're starting to see more and more cities around the country start to build sort of like these entertainment districts, like down in Atlanta. Truist Park. They've got that mini mall, or it's not a mini mall, it's a mega mall. They got a mega mall and an apartment complex right there, and it's all to like keep people around that area. So it's things are great in America. But speaking about things are great in America, we've got Randall Keith Orton versus Drew McIntyre. The commentary crew just at the top of this match, they say this is like, as a face-off, this is a PLE level event, and like you gotta agree, like it's two of the biggest guns in the promotion going at it. Randy's just dominating until he's thrown out of the ring, and Drew throws him against the desk. After the break, Drew and Randy are just slugging it in the middle of the ring. You got something?
Oh, yeah. Like, I just loved on the outside. Like you said, they were attacking. They were around the desk. Drew tries to backdrop Randy. Randy counters and drops him, as they always say, classic Randy Orton, the backdrop suplex onto there. Orton's going to always hit that snap slam when someone's coming off the ropes. I always love that so much. Drew ends up stun gunning him on the ropes. Randy is looking for the RKO. He starts banging on the ground, right? He's setting it up. He's looking for it.
He wants it.
And who comes down the ramp?
Kevin Owens, no music.
Just staring.
Peeking,
seeing what's up.
Oh, yeah, just peeking in like the windows at Sami Zayn's home.
Sammy had his dogs out and he was filming him.
Like his toes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's his home. Of course his dog's going to be out.
That's enough of a distraction. Randy gets hit by the Claymore, and Drew wins.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens is just here to be mean. Randy, after losing to Drew McIntyre, gets thrown against the desk. He gets I put here in my notes, a free from pile driver from. Jeez.
You're probably trying to say he gets free from the pile driver?
Yes.
I assume because KO tries to like set him up for that package pile driver, the same one that injured him. To do on the announce desk. Randy gets out, and then as they both go to the floor, Randy has the punt lined up. You know, we're like, oh, is it fine? Like, are we finally getting one?
Yeah.
Nah, KO jumps the rail. He's like, nope, out of here, done. See you next week, boys.
Bye. And then leading into another promo and reveal finally for something that we've been talking about a couple of times here. There was a masked figure, some sort of masked luchador. We assumed it was something having to do with El Grande Americano. However, we get the news that it is Rey Fenix, who is actually Penta's brother.
Yeah, for Shoot. They are Shoot brothers.
They're Shoot brothers. And again, we've been saying it on the podcast. I don't know if we know this, but Shoot means like real. Right, like real. When we say Shoot name, that's their government name, their Christian name.
Yeah, like Shoot, or if you're shooting, it's something that was real. Anything that has to do with like kayfabe, wrestling, so on, it's a work.
Yes.
But they always say, you know, watch working yourself into a shoot, right? When you blur those lines, right? Or when you throw a heavy punch, right? That's supposed to be worked.
Yeah.
You can be looking for a receipt, right? So they call it basically the get back of when someone hammers you, you get them back later.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. That's what a receipt is. All right. So we get that reveal. It's Penta's Shoot brother. And again, they're just, you know, fantastic luchadors, and crossing over into the WWE. Really exciting. We then have Jimmy Uso versus The Miz. So I'm looking at The Miz's Wikipedia page, just like briefly. The dude is actually a champion. Like I just thought he was
two-time WWE Grand Slam champion.
Yeah. So what's the Grand Slam championship? Is that like?
So that's you've held all the belts.
Oh,
like
okay.
You've been the WWE champion, heavyweight champion, U.S. champion, Intercontinental champion
At the same time, or
no, just throughout
Gotcha.
your career. And
Okay.
he's also been tag team champs too, but I do not believe that's usually included in the Grand Slam.
That's really impressive, actually.
He's had a long career. Like anyone
Yeah.
that sticks around that long, like you must be good.
Yeah, because he signed with the company in like 2004, 2003. So he's been around for a long time.
I think he was on like their first season of their reality show.
Yes.
Tough Enough, I believe is what it was.
I did see that as well. Miz puts up a great fight and gets some good shots in, despite Jimmy's early physical dominance. Did you see the part where Jimmy his chain pops off,
Oh,
and
no, I missed that.
very fluidly he picks up the chain and just continues to move along here. Dude, I'm gonna pull it up honestly because it's worth it.
I doubt that that's the first time that's happened to them. Like, I'm sure as they wrestle in there, all the different stuff I'm sure they've had before, and they're like, I'm sure it's not leaving it there.
Yeah, no, and I mean it's a nice chain. I mean it's probably worth at least 5 figures.
But that match was I liked that match. It was kind of quick, right? But like you said, it was kind of back and forth. Jimmy's up early, gets Miz over the barricade. Jimmy sits out of a skull crushing finale, which then like they exchanged roll ups. Like I love matches where they have like the different kinds of roll ups. Who's got who's like I would love for one to like actually end up in a finish one time. But again, it's just it's a nice little thing in the middle. Miz tries to do a springboard, catches a super kick and an Uso splash, and that's how Jimmy gets the W. As Charlie, I'll keep going as Charlie's going to pull this up. So Jimmy then goes to the announce table and gets a headset and calls out Gunther. And this answers your question from before about him being demoted. He says, you will be demoted to Private Gunther, and you will salute Big Jim.
I was so glad to finally get a confirmation on what rank that Gunther will be falling from. So he will be falling from full on, I assume, 4-star General Gunther, Ring General, which is the highest rank possible in the American military, all the way down to E1 Private, which is what you're given when you walk in. Well, it's actually what you're given after basic, pretty much. So, yeah. All right, here's that Jey Uso clip. Watch this. So, right here, he's got his chain on. He clotheslines Gunther, and it falls off, and you'll see it right there. And he's punching Gunther. He goes under, grabs it.
Oh, yeah, he scoops it before he hits the Samoan drop on the Miz. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was smooth. At the time it took him to hit the rope, he's like, let me take one step this way and scoop my chain.
Yeah, no, it was incredible, just like awareness and like keeping everything going. And yes, that was the Miz. And he does command a yeet at the end there. Backstage, we've got Drew with Louis Capaldi. Did you have something? You don't know Louis Capaldi? Yeah. He's very popular in the UK. You're not a Doctor Who guy, are you?
I am not, no.
You're familiar with it, though?
Yeah, I'm aware of what it is, yeah.
So his uncle is Peter Capaldi, who played the Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Peter Capaldi is also very famous for The Thick of It and In the Loop, which are... The Thick of It is a British sitcom about the inner workings of the British government. The guy who created it, Armando Iannucci, created Veep. And Veep before 2017 was really funny. And then after 2017, it's not funny anymore. It's like, when the people in the comedy are much more competent than the people in real life.
Oh, so all you're telling me is this is just another Nepo baby, just doing what they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Lewis is also really funny. He's a musician, but he's also very, very like naturally funny.
Oh, nice.
Jackie gets in a quick interview. Nobody screws Drew McIntyre over. I called Priest out next week, and we're gonna go out on the sesh, Lewis and I. And we're gonna go out and get plastered. But then he opens up the door, and who is there?
Oh, it's Damian Priest.
It's Damian Priest. They start fighting. They're throwing each other into a car. And then
the guy pops out. It's like, this is my car.
This is my car. And this is my car. It's a 20-year-old BMW that we got out of a junkyard earlier today.
And Priest just throws him through a table. He's basically like, oh, F this. And just like takes this guy who's very reasonable.
Yeah.
And it took me a second. So I was like, he got out on the wrong side of the car. And I'm like, oh, they're in London, guys. Literally, I had to do a double take. I was like, doesn't make any sense. They're idiots. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. Damn it. But then it ends with Priest chokeslamming Drew through the windshield.
Yeah.
Event tells security, oh, hey, I'm good for now.
I'm good for now.
And then he tells Drew, rest in peace, jackass.
Incredible.
At the end, you can hear Drew say that he got glass in his eye.
Yes.
And it's so hard now, especially with how things in like X and all are handled to know what it is. Like there's some people being like, this is actually real. And it's like, that's what everyone would say. I'd be interested to know. if it really was, we would have actually heard. Like,
yeah, by now at least. The thing with auto glass is it's technically called sugar glass because what auto glass is it's two pieces of glass with a thin sheet of plastic in between them. And the idea is that I think like back in the 70s before they started doing this, what would happen is a piece of glass would break and kill people, right? Because it was a big piece of glass. But what happens with sugar glass is you'll see now on modern vehicles, it'll stay together for the most part. Yes, you'll have pieces of glass for sure, but they're also less dangerous because of that piece of plastic. It makes it more dull.
I wasn't sure if it was like the safety brake glass where it's like it will only break into a million effing pieces.
And that's another thing.
That's a different
That's
thing.
a different
Okay.
form of glass as well. I have a friend who's a glass blower, and it's insane. You're just thinking, oh, well, you make the sand really hot and it turns into glass. No.
No.
Way more complicated than that. The best part about the end of this brouhaha backstage is CM Punk comes in. Punk and Rollins and Roman Reigns had walked in earlier and both been given security details, like 5 guys in WWE polos. Punk comes in with his security detail and he sees the aftermath of the Priest McIntyre affair, and he just kind of chuckles to himself.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's like good.
these chuckle nuts.
Chuckle nuts.
Yeah. So, the main event of Friday night was Reigns, Rollins, Punk. Their contract signing for the main event at WrestleMania. Nick Aldis oversees the contract signing in one of the most gaudy pieces of Union Jack merchandise I've ever seen. Roman comes out first. Paul sings for Roman.
That was so wild. Yeah, he literally at one point passes the mic to Paul to sing in with the crowd.
Yeah. And I don't think that definitely wasn't, it's not planned, but it's just like, it was really funny. He gets his acknowledgement. He signs his contract. And as soon as he says he wants to say one last, burn it down. So Seth comes back from his media tour. He has been, he was on the Rich Eisen show. He was on Good Morning Football a couple times over the week. Did you see the Rich Eisen clip? Like at the end of the end of his interview on the Rich Eisen show?
I don't believe so.
So apparently, Rich Eisen takes breaks, obviously. You can't be doing it 365. And he offered Rollins a seat to guest host.
Stop. That's so cool.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. And Rich Eisen is honestly like a really great interviewer. The clips that I see of him on Instagram, I really like. He seems like a really nice guy. But Seth Rollins being on that seems really exciting as well. And I hope opens up career opportunities for him post-wrestling, post-in-the-ring activity. Listen, outfit check for Seth. Really tasteful. I love the texture on the material. Listen, I feel like everything below the neck was a really good decision. Bro, you are coming out in a arena. I get that the lights are really bright. Okay, I've worked in video. I get it. But like these glasses, man. So Seth holds up the mic to Paul if he'll sing for Seth too, which was funny. And Seth keeps saying we this.
12 years ago, we landed on this roof in a helicopter.
Yes.
We were ready to remake this company in our image.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roman actually calls one. He's like, you keep saying we, but that we died a long time ago.
Yeah.
I made this place better than we found it. What have you done?
I took us to the current level. I made us desirable for Netflix. And Seth says he's here to clean up the mess again. But then we hear the guitar riff. We hear CM Punk we see CM Punk come out. Punk comes out to and quotes the classic "They Live," Roddy Piper. I have come here to chew bubblegum and sign a contract, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm glad that you knew what that was, as I was kind of watching. I was thinking that maybe we do a cold open coming up here of like the worst rated movies that include a wrestler. Because I know there's so many really bad ones.
They Live is on the opposite end of that spectrum.
No, exactly. So I think maybe we do like a top 5, bottom 5. We look at a big list. Like I think that could be a good cold open. Like I love They Live.
This is a John Carpenter household. John
Absolutely.
Carpenter rocks. No, I don't own any John Carpenter on physical media, but we need to fix that. Yeah, no, immediately I'm thinking about that because I was watching The Iron Claw recently. What else was I watching? There's related to the topic that I'm working on for story time, Vergagne, he produced a movie in the 70s with Ed Asner. To be like, oh, wrestling's legit, and like a bunch of wrestlers from the AWA at the time are in it. So like, it's interesting to see that these guys, the strategy changes over time moderately based on the medium, but things don't really change all that much. Okay, so Paul mentions for Punk to go to page 4, clause 5.
Well, hold on. That was Roman after he said, "Do you need a highlighter?"
Oh,
go
yeah.
to page 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, "This is TV today, Junior." And then Roman asked Paul to wisen him up. So then that's when Paul goes over and says, "I know what you're looking for."
Yes.
And it's in there.
Yes.
You are closing the show at WrestleMania. CM Punk, you are a WrestleMania main eventer. So real quick,
yeah,
I'm going to be mad about this because, like, okay, so if this is a main event, like, so much of Jay's thing after winning is that he was going to main event WrestleMania. So if you're telling me this triple threat is main eventing WrestleMania and Jay is supposed to main event WrestleMania, are you telling me that John Cena and Cody Rhodes is not going to main event WrestleMania? Which is fine. Just don't say the Royal Rumble winner gets to main event. Just don't say that anymore. But they said that so many times when he won the Royal Rumble. It becomes a thing every year.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about it now, and it's really confusing because they were like, well, this is going to be the main event of night 1, and then night 2 is going to be the Cena-Cody matchup.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's how they're going to cap it off. But, like, we'll talk about it at the outro for the show, the end of the show, but, like, there's a bunch of title matches going on at WrestleMania. So there's a lot of hardware on the line in Vegas. So really exciting. Seth, of course, has, as Punk is like having an emotional reaction to this, Seth has a tantrum. You don't deserve it, etc., etc. Roman says, thank your tribal chief. Punk gives the most condescending thank you, but because of you, I will see you in the main event of WrestleMania.
And did you people? I was kind of go, oh, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the big dog.
The big dog.
That was a very bad Roman Reigns era. Like that's when they were like trying to figure out like what to make him after the Shield, I believe. And then like it just kind of fell flat, the big dog era of Roman Reigns.
Wow. Okay, that's a good call. And then, Punk gets up and he says, this is great. I'm really excited about it. As corny as it is, I'm really excited to main event WrestleMania. But that's not the favor I was owed.
Oh, man. That's amazing. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah. Just what a way to end SmackDown. And again, like a packed show. Like I feel like we say it like every week just because like they pack a lot into these shows. But like you've got Cody and Randy starting out, then you had Street Profits and Pretty Deadly. Zelina Vega, keep doing that in the Secret Service. Strowman and LA Knight, like again, all of the backstage stuff. And then Randy and Drew McIntyre. That itself, again, that's a PLE level event.
No, absolutely.
Matchup, so
hell of a lot of good matches. Again, I didn't feel that, like, I feel like every week I'm always like, oh, they probably could have cut a little bit out of this segment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought all the segments were pretty useful. They were good, like,
yeah,
delivered the story. And, geez, the time people listen to this will be like, what, 13 days to WrestleMania or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying, there really wasn't a lot of fat on the piece here on the show today. And leaving it on that cliffhanger of like it keep on extending, like what is this favor that Heyman owes CM Punk? So really exciting stuff, and we'll learn more about the road to WrestleMania next on Raw. Hey, Charlie here from the podcast you're currently listening to. Do you like it? Maybe you like our social media profiles? Did you know I can help your business with that? Yeah, whether it's something as simple as helping your business have a stronger presence on social media, or you have a great idea for a podcast of your own, I can help. Visit charlesfstewart.com/contact to get started today. That's Charles, spelled the usual way, F as in Frank, STEWART.com, or you can DM us on social media at cshowpod. Thanks for obliging my self-promotion. Now, back to the show. And we're back. So we're still in London for Raw on the 31st of March, and this is fun for us because we are actually recording right after Raw. Like literally, we both watched Raw this afternoon, and we are recording right now. So they're back at the O2, same location, same place for Raw. We get some we get some hype for the match of Rhea and Iyo tonight with Bianca refereeing. Bianca shows up in her referee suit. I don't know if you saw that, the black and white stripes.
I did peep that, and I'm like, I hope that's not what she wears for the match. That'll be very uncomfortable.
We'll talk about that more in a minute. Logan, of course, gets boos as he appears pre-show. And then the Uso twins get a very mixed response, which I was a little disappointed about. Because Gunther versus Jimmy tonight on Raw, or earlier tonight on Raw. And, after all the pre-show stuff, everybody walking in, the arena is quiet. There's the hustle and bustle, of course. But then immediately, the Let's Go Cena sucks chant starts. And then his music starts. And then he gets a huge pop when his song comes on. But then boos, and then when the horn melody pops in, it's John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks.
As we're seeing this unraveling of John Cena, like literally, even when his song played today, I just put "Here's Johnny." Like we are just rapidly approaching "Here's Johnny."
Yeah, it'll be really funny if they do anything in Colorado. Hey-o. Cena's shirt, he's been localizing them for each place on the tour. I didn't see the Philly shirt. I don't know did he have? Was it just Kelly Green? I don't remember.
I
don't know if he came out in Philly.
I don't think so. 'Cause I don't think he had really started his goodbye tour yet.
Yeah. Well, his shirt does have the Palace Guard and their ridiculous hat on it.
I
Which
did
think
love
is funny. His theme song fades out and the booze just crescendo. It's just a man alone in the arena, just like Teddy Roosevelt spoke about. The chants are so mixed. Like all you can really hear is like Cena, and you can kind of hear it overlapping, like different parts of the crowd saying, "Let's go Cena," and other parts of the crowd saying "Cena sucks," and so you can get like bits and pieces of it, but it's like just very, very. It's difficult to hear it. As soon as he brings the mic to his mouth.
Cody Rhodes.
There's wrestling has more than one royal family. Cody,
and there's adrenaline in my soul.
This is my kingdom. As Cody enters the ring, Cena circles Cody.
I literally wrote down Cena circling him. Like animalistic, like just
very. Again, John tries to speak. Cody cuts him off. We've listened to you for 2 weeks. Let me do your job for you. You think you're going to cook me. You're going to end me. He brings up Stardust. Cody brings up his own stutter. I was reading recently that Samuel L. Jackson has a stutter. Did you know this?
I did not.
Do you know how what he initially used to overcome it?
Curse words?
Swearing. Samuel L. Jackson, American treasure. That's just really impressive to overcome. Just like any sort of, because it's how you communicate with people. And then to be somebody who's in the public eye like that, incredible.
Especially in a business that's so based on like,
Mhm.
how do you gut promos? How do you talk? How do you appear in public?
Yeah. It's the final WrestleMania for John, and you're fighting Stardust. Another thing Cody says is, I have an arm tattoo, but it's on my neck.
The fact that he even brought up, he's like, I got booed in the company I created, but then hits this amazing line. I'm still struggling with the fact that Superman is really dead.
Yeah, and have you read the Death of Superman story or
No.
or seen the? I have a copy of the animated movie. So the Death of Superman was totemic at the time. It's the mid 1980s. Superman as a concept is kind of on the out and outs. It's the 80s in America. Crime is rising. Things are becoming a lot more unequal in the Reagan administration. And so DC decides, well, let's kill Superman. And this is the first time it's happened, right? Well, your eyes pop up now because this happens all the time now, and we see it in the movies and everything. They die, they come back, they die, they come back. This is a huge deal. They create this storyline, it comes out, but then at the end, Superman just comes back. He's not actually dead. He was just like recovering. Like his heartbeat was like 1 beat a day or something. And like somebody hears him through, like somebody can hear his heartbeat through his tomb or whatever. And it's just like, okay. And so I think that's also really interesting to think about in the way that like the Death of Superman changed the way how characters are treated in comics, the way how their arcs are treated, the way how they can be killed and brought back. I mean, famously, recently, Jason Todd, the second Robin, this happened back like in the early 2000s, but they brought back Jason Todd, and they were just like, oh yeah, he was in Ra's al Ghul's pit of or Lazarus pit, and it's just like, okay, all right. So it's interesting how, Cody brings up this idea of Superman being dead, and like again, like this. Cody as a hero figure, going back to Campbellian mythology, like dealing with this person that I looked up to, this guy that I'm trying to emulate is dead. Like who do I pull from now? It's hard for him to pull from Cena, even going back to it, because that current image or those past images are now tainted by the heel turn. So I just think the stuff that they're doing with the character of John Cena is phenomenal, and the way that Cena is playing it.
Oh my god, yeah, he's playing it so well. Like the stoic face he had, like not giving an inch, not giving an inkling as Cody was just running down all these different points was amazing.
Yeah, and in the audience continued, "Let's go Cena. Cena sucks." Cody says, "You have lied," or John says, "You have lied to this audience for the last 2 weeks. We used to ride together, Poncho and Lefty. Look at them and tell them why." John's not going to punch down to his level. He's not going to protect Cody. You've been protected long enough. I won't cook you. I won't bury, or I'll bury you just like I buried everybody else. I bury talent. I don't bury talent. I am talent. Like just incredible stuff from John. Talking about how Cody has manipulated his way to the top of the business. Cody has ridden the coattails of his success and brings up the fact that at one point, Cody used to drive John around.
WWE gave the keys to my chauffeur.
Handing the reins of this organization to my chauffeur. Calls Cody a slimy pickpocket because he thinks because he stole the blueprint, he can run the kingdom. It is at this point where I felt like the court stenographer, and I'm just furiously typing, just trying to keep up here.
Oh my god, absolutely.
I saw your text about your new dog, and I thought, yeah, dude, the opening, the Raw of this week is crazy.
I know, I'm leaning across as the dog's sitting on my lap. I'm leaning across to feverishly type away. Cena ends up, he's like, "You're the Pied Piper."
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just play the music and they come. You're too perfect, too polished. You rely on those lazy gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
And that Cody's afraid to show who he is.
Yes.
One thing you have shown me is that someone mediocre wearing something important is enough to fool these people.
Yeah, he calls him a sociopathic Nepo baby. So narcissistic that he had his wrestling personality put on his body for the whole world to see. You're just a common fan, just like them. After WrestleMania, go to Fanatics and buy the toy belt. Okay. But then after that, the insane... Well, there's two... There's a great put down and then an insane nuke from orbit. John says, you're an errand boy that got lucky. And then Cody says, maybe you're right, John. Maybe I was chosen. You know who chose me? The audience. Can you say the same? Or did a guy in an office choose you and he's not here anymore and we don't talk about it? Like in Aliens when Ripley's like, nuke the site from... I say we take off and nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to make sure.
And then to follow it up with, I know you got more dick in your promo than in your jorts. You hang with Zac Efron and wish you were 16.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the movie... Is the movie 16 again?
17 again.
God, it's right there.
So
why
close.
didn't they just do that? Because Zac Efron was in the new one, right?
I mean, yeah, he was in 17 again.
Yeah.
It's Matt LeBlanc, I think.
Okay, I thought, and
Yeah.
it's again, it's just like it was right there.
Oh, so close, so close. I'm Cody Rhodes. I'm a wrestler like my father. If anyone's a company creation, it's you. Like Peter Schaefer, William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, Peter Schaefer, Cody Rhodes, English playwrights, and champions of literature.
Look, when John comes back and he's like, you are just like these people, your head is full of feces, not facts.
Yo.
No one has been worthy to put me in the ground. And you left because at your best, you couldn't wipe my ass.
I make money for billionaires. All you do is steal it from their kids. Okay, John, that is not the flex you think it is. Oh, I make money for billionaires. No, that's...
And you steal it from Nepo babies.
I used to make money for a billionaire, and I did not like it. It sucks.
So John goes, and he starts to leave, and Cody's like, I just want to remind you, the audience has never chanted at me, you can't wrestle. And
the audience takes the bait.
Oh, absolutely.
You can wrestle.
Absolutely. So Cena comes back in, and he's like kind of G'ing up like he might, and he goes like he's going to leave and then tries to hit Cody with a cheap shot. Turns right into a crossroads.
In a three-piece suit. Yeah. At this point, when John walks out of the ring, or when Cody walks out of the ring, John is laying spread eagle out on the ring, on the mat. Cody's walking out. I pause because I also had to take a pee break. But 24 minutes.
Wow.
24 minutes. This incredible performance between two performers. 24 minutes. I just like, you're just sitting there and you're just like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So earlier tonight we had Wade Barrett joining the commentary crew, which was a welcome addition. Some more hype for the Iyo Rhea match for that women's championship. But then leading into a tag team match between New Day
sucks.
Thank you. And the New Catch Republic. Before we get into it, the New Catch Republic. So in my notes, I'm putting it as NCR. And you haven't played Fallout New Vegas, right?
Not New Vegas, no.
Not New Vegas. Okay, yeah. So the New California Republic is a key faction in that game. And I just keep thinking, anytime I put in New Catch Republic NCR, I was just like, New California Republic? But yeah, Adam Pearce introduces New Catch Republic. It's Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate having his first match since last July after tearing his pec. New Day just immediately has a rough start. There's some really incredible stuff from Tyler Bate immediately. He gets that awesome spin move, or he literally spinning. I think it was Xavier Woods, spinning Xavier Woods to a point where I was dizzy. And then there was a great pin opportunity by the New Catch Republic, and Xavier Woods breaks that up. There was also Kofi pulling Tyler Bate and slamming him down on the apron. I really liked that. Anything about New Day sucks. New Day sucks versus the New Catch Republic.
I love seeing like New Day doing some of this heel stuff. Like again, they were good guys for so long. Using the distraction so Kofi can choke him on the ropes a little bit.
Yeah.
Even at the end, right, pulling Bate off the apron so that they can hit the Daybreaker for the win. It's just interesting. I'm glad they're kind of doing something new.
Yeah.
And, after they get the win, they end up on the ramp with Kathy Kelly.
And immediately Xavier insults Kathy by yelling, "Are you slow?" And Xavier was taunting a child before the interview as well.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he was taunting a child, and Kofi had to be like, "Hey, dude, we're doing an interview right now.
Stop picking on this kid.
Stop like taunting this child and creating a core memory for him." The New Day claim that they deserve a shot at the tag team title. At this point, the War Raiders come, and they flex their title on Kofi and Xavier.
Yeah, just a little stare down on the ramp, and I guess this is what we're doing for WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, talk more about that in a moment. We get a recap of Jay and Jimmy's activities last week. The slap heard around the world, which we talked about earlier. Again, Jimmy is just backstage. Jay approaches. It feels so much like Sesame Street to me.
Oh, stop!
It feels so like, "Oh, hey, Jimmy. Oh, hey, Jay."
Like they're just two weird brothers.
Yeah, I don't want to say Bert and Ernie, but like Bert and Ernie. Jay is, "I hear you. I want you to just be careful." This does not bode well.
No, absolutely not.
We have our celebrities again: Kate Nash from Glow, Michael Page, Venom from UFC, the most insane WWE cameo that I've seen, celebrity appearance, Charlie Brooker, creator of Black Mirror.
Well, did you see about how they mixed them up at first? How they put it up for?
I was like, that is not
because
Charlie
I
Brooker.
swore I recognized. I didn't know who that guy was, but I know who Venom is.
And I was like,
and I was just like, wait, what? Like I thought I was going crazy, and then I just loved how much Pat kept saying he was sorry. It literally sounded like he. And then like later you see he's like right behind them.
Oh,
so I bet he was like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean like." I think he was like just like so worried Paige was gonna be mad at him.
Oh, I'm sure, absolutely. I would not want to have a UFC fighter mad at me.
And as much as I hate to talk about the little like commercial things and all they do, so they showed a thing for the Hall of Fame, and they were discussing the Triple H versus Foley at the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
I just want to do a quick little lore dump on that.
Please.
One thing that's super interesting about that match is you saw in the little cut up they did, you saw Mick Foley getting hit with the barbed wire.
Yes.
Barbed wire, I think it was a 2x4.
Yep.
So during the match, they had to do a whole bunch of things because when Foley would hit Triple H with it, it was fake barbed wire. But Mick Foley's like, "No, I'll take the real barbed wire." So like there were different spots where like
they had two.
Yes, like where the ref would take it away and they'd like put it under the announce table and they'd go and grab it to like switch out for who was getting hit. And I believe I've also heard that you saw at the very end he does the pedigree onto the tacks.
Yes.
That like at the end of the match they were not supposed to do that. They did not get approval to do that. Mick Foley's like, "Yo, you gotta pedigree me on the tacks right now. Like that's gonna be cinema."
Oh my gosh, Mick Foley just so good. One of the greats. Yeah, no, that I did put WrestleMania 13 down on the list of WrestleManias that we can recap later.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that was one of the things I showed you. People say it's one of the best matches when we watched the Austin.
Yes.
The Austin Bret Hart submission match, which is also getting inducted this year.
Yes. So, I mean, I love Bret Hart and like anything Bret Hart does. So, that leads us into Gunther versus Jimmy Uso. Gunther is all smiles beforehand, and it really like leading up into this match, like it feels like the story point is either Jimmy wins and gives Jay confidence, or Gunther kicks Jimmy's ass and Jay is enraged to defeat Gunther. So the match starts, and it's just like, frankly, Gunther beating the shit out of Jimmy, chopping Jimmy outside the ring, slamming him into the barricade. Gunther almost pile drivers Jimmy outside of the ring. Jimmy flips Gunther. There's the self-harm dive outside the ring.
The self-harm dive, no.
We gotta watch out for the transcript there. And Gunther gets his knees up to block the Uso splash. Jimmy executes another Uso splash, nearly pins Gunther.
After that superplex.
Yeah.
They both end up in the ropes. They hit that crazy superplex. And then Gunther kicks it too. I was like, again, like it got me. I was like, maybe, like, because I thought it would be like, all right, Gunther's going to lose. He's going to lose his absolute freaking mind. And then they're going to keep pushing the story.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought it was going to be. Like, this was going to be like a confidence booster for Jay to be like, oh, I can do it.
So Gunther goes and starts taking some liberties here.
Yes.
So Gunther hits a huge drop kick. He hits Jimmy with a power bomb, pins him. 1, 2, pulls him up. I just literally wrote he's going to make an example out of him. Clotheslines him. Right. Heavy clothesline. Really a rainmaker, I believe. So I believe he pulled him in for it. Pulls Jimmy up at 2 again. He's like, what else could I do now besides lock in the sleeper hold?
Yeah, and like puts Jimmy into the sleeper hold, and Jimmy taps out, ending the match, Gunther winning, but continues to keep Jimmy in the sleeper hold after the match. Comes back into the ring, puts Jimmy into the sleeper hold again, and then we hear main event Jey Uso music starts playing. Jay runs out, no shirt on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Gunther is trying to get away. He gets away for a second, and like you could hear the crowd yelling, "Wanker, wanker, wanker!" And I was like, "Well, you guys were booing the Uso twins earlier," so I was like, "Are you guys wanker at Jay?" No, they are yelling "wanker" at Gunther. Thankfully, Gunther attacks Jimmy and Jay as they're trying to like walk out. It goes to a break.
So I was gonna say that was beautiful that they had Gunther kind of tuck tail and run. They go to a commercial, come back from a commercial, right? Brother and brother help them arm under arm getting out, and Gunther comes back and jumps them both.
Yeah, Jay is thrown into the steps. The crowd immediately breaks out into, "Oh, Gunther's a wanker." A poor security guard gets powerbombed into the stairs.
Yeah, he was gonna do it to Jimmy, and they were. I mean, he was gonna do it to Jay, and they were like, "Hey, you can't do that." And he's like, "You're right," and it just does it to the security guard.
It's that Shawn Michaels bit. What's your name?
Stan.
Stan. Sweet chin music.
I kicked Stan. You made me kick Stan.
Jay gets thrown into the ring post. So Gunther pulls out the zip ties. He wraps the zip ties around Jay's wrist and attaches them to the ring. He's gouging out Jay's eyes. Jay is now fully attached to the ring via zip tie. Jimmy is picked up and is continued to be brutalized by Gunther. Michael Cole is just standing there, just going like, "This is disgusting." Like,
where's security? Where's the GM?
Where's the decorum? Again, not a metaphor or anything. You know, the people that could do something aren't doing anything. Not a metaphor. Jay is just completely helpless watching Gunther beat the hell out of his brother. By this point, Jimmy is bloodied. Gunther taunts Jay with the belt. WWE security is just hanging outside the ring, and they're just like got their noses up on the ring, and they're like, "Oh, should we do something?" Whoa.
Look, they saw what happened to the guy that got powerbombed on the steps. They're like, we're good. Yeah, I thought it was very funny that Jimmy catches a title belt shot on the falls. It's like, oh, gave himself a nice little blade job there.
Yeah.
'Cause he was bleeding.
Yeah, I think at one point Adam Pearce was gonna come out and like reprimand. Did you see Gunther tasting the blood?
I did.
Yikes. Jimmy is completely out cold. Jay is helpless. In a sign of defiance, Gunther raises his belt, immediately gets booed. The talk around this is Gunther's a hypocrite. You know, he talks about the in-ring pure action, you know, being a leader like focusing on the action, but then it's just like it's the sleeper hold stuff. It's the illegal pile drivers. It's all these distractions.
During the very end,
Mhm.
when Gunther put in that other choke, did Gunther call Jay a pussy?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm not gonna say no, but like, I don't know if I heard that or not. But yeah, that would make sense.
I say they were being pretty free with the language tonight.
It's on Netflix.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
surprised they could still, because at the beginning it still said it was PG.
Oh,
I guess just because there were no F-bombs, you can still get away with PG.
I mean, and it's 3 p.m. too. It's 3 p.m. Eastern, so you can't claim safe haven or anything. After a certain time, you can claim. After I think it's like 10 p.m., the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, after 10 p.m., they're like, yeah, you can say shit. You can get away with one F-bomb, right? On a like during a movie or something.
Yeah.
Like Adult Swimming programming has been doing this for a long time now. And on reruns and stuff, they'll bleep it out. But like on the first run, they'll include the F-bomb. But like it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and like there's also the whole thing in like the Vince documentary series on Netflix about Raw moving from TV-14 down to PG, right? And that shift there. So it is really interesting how flexible Netflix is on some of the content stuff. We get a recap of both the contract signing at the end of Raw last week, as well as the Penta versus Breaker match with Dom's shenanigans, which leads right into a Judgment Day sketch.
So we come backstage, and they're all buddy again. All is well. And Liv comes in. It's like, oh, you guys made up. And Finn's like, oh, we fight like cats and dogs, but we always make up. We just want to bring gold back to the clubhouse. We will show Braun and Penta.
I mean, it would be cool if they actually had some sort of like clubhouse, like the APA back in the day. They had that fake door, and it would create the wall, their office. But there's nothing for that for the Judgment Day, and so they're just like, I switched my sound from stadium to normal so that I could hear it, and there was something in the background there. And I mean, it's a live show, allegedly. So, for this podcast, I run noise reduction, and then I run noise removal, and then I run a noise reduction and normalization, and there's all these things that I do to edit it, but I get time to do that. You don't get that when you're live. So, yes, no, the business of adding Penta is behind them, and then the boys all leave, and Liv and Raquel need to do something about Bailey and
Lyra,
Valkyria. Thank you very much. I meant to go back there.
Well, how about how Carlito was kind of hanging there? He's like, yeah. And they're like, go. And he's like, what do you mean? They're like, just go help them. Like, get out of here.
I felt bad because Carlito only had his apple in his hand. He didn't get to take a bite out of his apple today. How is he going to keep the doctor away?
Please, if you think that's the only apple he's had, you don't know Carlito.
All right, we have a match now of Penta versus Breaker versus Finn and Dom of the Judgment Day. You comfy?
Penta and Braun versus Finn and Dom. Tag team style.
Penta comes out. The amazing entrance that he's got, Sierra Mero. And immediately, right after the bell, Finn's already being an asshole.
Shocker.
No way. Penta is just amazing throughout this entire match. Finn tries to counter Breaker, and Braun just throws him into the ground hilariously. Breaker does have that great assist to let Penta fly, and near the end of the match, Breaker accidentally spears Penta, which gives Finn the opportunity to land the coup de grace and pin Penta for the win.
I thought it was very well done. Like you said, Penta got to hit some of his high flying stuff. I really like that. Like he did like the headstand on the turnbuckle into the kick. That was awesome. I like the sequence where Dom went for the three amigos.
Yep.
Penta gets out on the third one, hits a backstabber. And then when Finn and Dom both tried to suplex Breaker,
Yep.
and then he picked them both up and like gave a little stall. Like it wasn't a full stall suplex, but like he gave a second at the top, then immediately drops the straps. But like you said, Dom pushes Penta in the way of the spear, and then Finn unfortunately picks up the win for Judgment Day.
Yeah. We go backstage. We have Chad and Adam Pearce backstage. Chad is congratulating Adam for a great launch of El Grande Americano. Great signing for the Raw team. Chad has a few more notes about El Grande Americano, but Adam reveals that next week Raw is in the great city of Minneapolis, Chad's hometown. Chad wants to wrestle, but the doctor's note given to Adam kind of ties Adam's hands. Adam has to let Chad rest. So El Grande Americano will fight in Minneapolis. If you didn't hear that, that was the sign of my eyeballs rolling into the back of my skull, like my mother warned. The Alpha Academy gets a face-off, and Maxine Dupree wants to talk about her career, but is straight up just like cut off for time. Like she's in the middle of saying something, and they cut her off to set up the Rhea Iyo match later that evening. Breaker and Penta have an altercation backstage. Obviously Penta's mad that Breaker speared him, mad that it leads to the loss there. I saw on Instagram that people were complaining about Penta like losing and Penta already being buried. And it's like, dude, this is his first loss in WWE. His shoot brother is coming in to the roster. Like he fought for Intercontinental title last week. Dude, have you guys ever heard of character development?
And again, he lost to two finishers back to he lost from a spear immediately into a coup de grace. It's not like he got like pushed over or slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah.
And during this exchange,
it's not like Jay Uso.
Oh man, I didn't even mean to set that up. During this exchange, my wife asked me, she's like, "Did Penta just call Braun a pussy?" And I'm like, "I think they're just letting it fly today. I think everyone's calling anybody anything they want."
Yeah. Speaking of calling anybody anything you want, AJ Styles comes out. Listen, AJ Styles, you're dumb. 2 counts. Your homophobia and your flat earther believerism, and then Logan Paul is just Logan Paul. So look, again, the two worst people that you know have an argument. AJ says, "Logan, if you have something to say, come say it to my face." Logan does come out. He tears up a sign.
Did you see what the sign was?
What was the sign?
So it was a Prime bottle, but instead of saying Prime across it, it said Prick.
So good.
Like X, like so good.
So good. British humor. Some of the best. He does drink a Prime. And gets a mention for his show on Max. The boos are just overpowering Logan. Logan is like, you can barely hear him, and I feel like somebody in the audio at the audio table is just mixing up the audience a little bit, mixing down Logan. Thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. We see you. Logan just keeps it humble. I'm a superstar. I'm international. I'm rich. You all do as you're told because you're sheep.
More famous than any of you could ever imagine.
He tells AJ to not get his shiny panties in a bunch. And AJ, bro, you need to size up on your panties, by the way, bro.
Like the fact that Logan says, he's like, I've had a change of heart because I'm a girl dad now. And I just wrote, I hope he treats her better than any other woman he's ever met.
And the best part is AJ goes, "Oh, I have a daughter too."
Literally.
And that reminds me of, Batman versus Superman, where they're just like, "Oh, both our moms are named Martha." Oh. Oh my gosh.
Logan says that he's willing to forgive AJ for what happened to Madison Square Garden, but he won't forget.
Yeah, and AJ forgives Logan for being the biggest douche in the WWE. Don't let your mouth write checks your ass can't cash. Logan tries to get a cheap shot kick in. AJ catches it. AJ obviously wants to smoke. and Logan sneaks out, but gets thrown into the announcer desk. Logan Paul tries to do his move, and knocks AJ Styles out.
Yes, they're coming back in the ring. Logan hits AJ with a low blow,
Mm-hmm.
and then hits the pulverizers. Apparently, they're calling it. That's me throwing up in my mouth.
Okay, I don't get Paul American. I don't get it. Like, I get like that it's a play on All American, but
Okay.
like Paul American.
Yes.
Like, what about? Okay, I just think of Paul Bearer.
Is that the only Paul you know, or like what do you think of Paul Bearer?
Well, there was Paul Reagan, a kid in my sophomore year chemistry class in high school who showed up with a water bottle full of vodka, halfway drunk.
Jesus Christ.
There was Paul, once called Saul, right?
I was just thinking Paul the alien from the movie named Paul. So Jackie Redmond's backstage with Lyra.
And Lyra says, I have so much respect for Bayley, but I need to stand on my own 2 feet. I need to beat her and fulfill my promise to her. Rematch next week. Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley. So that'll be exciting. We have a second Judgment Day sketch.
Oh boy.
Finn is just on a roll. We're on the road to WrestleMania. And Liv has been doing this the entire time, but just sowing more seeds of distrust in the Judgment Day. Because Finn wants his own title match, but Liv wants Dom to have his own shot at the title. So
this is definitely going to end up with them
Breaking up
facing off in a number 1 contenders match, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
But I feel like it'll probably be them. So they have to include Penta too, because they screwed Penta. So it'll probably be them, and I'm willing to bet that Finn and Dom collide and do some dumb stuff. Penta gets the win, and then they can start their feud. If I had to guess how
Do you think
that's what my tea leaves are telling me.
Do you think that will also be the face turn for Dom, the redemption arc? Do you think Dom gets a redemption arc?
Way down the line,
Mhm.
like I think they're gonna milk this definitely till Ray's gone. Like having Ray still in the company, like gives them so much freedom for all this and all the different stuff. Like Ray's mentioned before, he's like, maybe my last match should be a mask versus hair with Dominic. That would be so awesome. Like I would love that. So I don't think we're gonna get that anytime soon, especially because even if the Judgment Day, however it breaks up, Liv will still be with Dom. So there is no turn to being a baby face while you're still with Liv Morgan.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's going to be some sort of obvious breakup of the Judgment Day, the Finn and Dom facing off. And I think Liv and Dom are going to break up, obviously. So that leads us into our main event on Monday Night Raw, which is Rhea for the Women's WWE Championship, with Bianca Belair as the guest referee. Bianca does come out in her own custom outfit. Again, like she is the EST of the WWE. Like that's just incredible stuff. Like, hey, I made my own outfit. It's a very clever design too, where she's like incorporating her own style, the WWE referee uniform. Yeah. Rhea comes out first. It is put out there when Iyo comes out that Iyo has never lost one-on-one to Rhea. So the match starts, and Michael Cole drops a JFK Files mention just like at the top, and I'm like, yo, what? I know Pat McAfee is a nut job. I do have a copy of the Warren Commission report if you ever want to read it.
I think I'm all right.
Yeah, no. Yes. Rhea and Iyo traded covers early in the match. Iyo backflipped into a giant kick. Iyo was just super acrobatic, flying kicks, cross bodies, the suicide dives, the backflips, the whole kit and caboodle. Loved it. During the break, Iyo, like right as we came out for the break, Iyo kicked out of a 2 count. Rhea puts Iyo on her shoulders. Iyo nearly falls off. Like they're up on the turnbuckle. Rhea drops from the second rope. Iyo goes for the pin. Rhea kicks out. Like it's just like back and forth. Iyo has this running kick into Rhea's face. couple times Iyo goes from the top rope. Iyo from the top rope. Rhea just headbutts her off. Just that slight headbutt.
The one time she jumps and Iyo tries to do the crossbody. Yeah, it just gives her the headbutt as she's going, which is awesome. I really like how they had Bianca going through the beginning of this match. Like, both of the wrestlers were kind of pressing like close to. So like you'll hear when wrestlers get into the ropes, referees will start a 5 count, right? Yep. And you have to break the hold or whatever you're doing before 5, you get disqualified. So like, right, Bianca was counting, she'd get to 4, and instead of counting 5 and DQing, like she would just kind of aggressively pull them apart, right? So it's being like, oh, was that too rough to separate them? Like this, it's like, well, do you want to disqualify them? It's like, well, she shouldn't do either. And it's like, well, what are we talking about here?
What are we doing here? So Rhea gets gets riptide in. Iyo counters it. Rhea kicks out of a close pin, and then Rhea kicks Bianca. And Bianca is out of the ring. She's on the apron. Rhea gets another riptide in. There's no referee to count. She literally gets in a 20 count. Yeah, like the crowd counts for a 20 count. Rhea is just yelling at Bianca to get in here and count the count. Iyo kicks out of the count when Bianca's in there finally. Because again, Iyo's had plenty of time to recuperate, get ready.
Yeah, it's been 45 seconds at this point.
Yeah. Rhea's arguing with Bianca. Iyo comes in from the top rope onto Bianca and accidentally knocks her out of the ring. And at this point, Bianca's just like, no, come on. Like, I'm done.
F this.
Yeah, F this. Calls a double disqualification. Iyo is still champion. At this point, Rhea is pissed. She beats up Bianca. Iyo moonsaults onto Bianca
to the
and Rhea.
outside onto both of them. That was amazing.
The brouhaha gets into the middle of the ring. It's just absolutely insane. Rhea riptides Bianca and Iyo. They're laying out on the mat. Just like at this point, like there's still 4 minutes left, and I'm like, this is an electric ending. This is like Rhea is missing out on WrestleMania. She's taking this out on Bianca and Iyo. She pulls Bianca by her hair and does a riptide from the second rope.
One thing about that, so she's going to leave. She's already halfway out the rope.
Yeah.
And the crowd just starts chanting, one more time. And like you said, pulls Bianca over by her freaking hair, by the big ponytail, the big braid, whatever it is, and does a second rope riptide.
Yeah.
And then Rhea gets her moment standing tall, holding the championship at the end.
And an electric ending. Both endings phenomenal for SmackDown and Raw on Monday night. So amazing how they're doing it. And really ratcheting up for WrestleMania. So anything on SmackDown or Raw before we wrap up the show here?
No, I sound like a broken record. Two good weeks. I hope this build to WrestleMania stays strong. Hopefully they don't throw in any weird curveballs. No more triple threats. But again, we have been in a great little stretch here since we've started this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll keep it going. We'll be right back here on The C Show. We can't stop here.
We won't stop here.
We're on the road to WrestleMania. So I want to go through here as we're wrapping up on the C Show, previewing the matches that are currently confirmed for WrestleMania here. So as we talked about before, we've got Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens on night 1, and then the Punk Reigns Rollins 3-way triple threat. Say that 3 times fast. Why won't ya?
No.
Thank you. Yeah. So that is April 19th on Peacock, 7 p.m. Eastern. So Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens.
Oh man, I'm excited. There's a lot here, a lot of history.
Yeah.
There's some like I just want a little more pulled out of this because again, the last thing we really have from Kevin is him being like, "I'm willing to forgive you." Like, right? I would like to see this other side where Kevin's like, "All right, you don't want to be with me? All right, let's do it. Then I'll drop you on your head again."
Yeah.
I would like to see a little more rev up from him. We've been seeing how Randy feels, right? And then also touching on it with just his overall view with him talking to Cody this week. So I just want to see a little more from Kevin's Owens side these last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And then the main event for WrestleMania Night 1 is the Punk Reigns Rollins 3-way triple threat. And I mean, we've been talking about this past couple of weeks. We spent a lot about it earlier in the episode. This is really exciting. You've obviously got the history between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. You've got the recent stuff between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. You have the various beefs in between the Mexican standoff of CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. What are your thoughts there?
Where does Paul Heyman lie in all of this? Because, again, there's so much of this that relies on him. Again, formerly a CM Punk. CM Punk was a Paul Heyman guy. Again, that was way before either of his other guys. Reigns, has had his wise man for a very long time now. Still this favor that he owes. People are talking about, like, is there a way that Rollins, either by force or by crook, can get Paul Heyman on his side to turn on both of them and to, close off and, cut the head off this snake, 'cause he talks about defeating Punk. So I really think all of that's going to come back to, well, what's Paul Heyman really up to? Because he's always been like this ultimate string puller, manipulator. That's not a prediction; it's a spoiler, right? So I think it's really going to come down to where does he actually have his wagon hitched?
Interesting. Do you think the outcome rests on Heyman?
I think he's going to be directly involved in it, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then night 2, April 20th. Again, 7 p.m., Peacock. So this was how it was listed on Wikipedia, so we're just going to go with this so far. First up, well, actually, never mind. I'll leave the Cody and John for the end. But we'll start off, we'll let ladies go first. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the Women's Championship.
Have loved this build. I've really liked the back and forth. The dual interview last week was awesome, right? I would love for us to just get kind of one or two more face-to-face kind of, stare downs in person. Maybe. Did they ever do a contract signing?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so hopefully we'll get one of those coming up, because I would really like, again, to see them both spend a little more time on the mic and really dig into this. Tiffy being like, you are one of my supporters, but you always dump water on the hottest thing.
Yeah.
Right? And kind of what Charlotte has to say there.
Interesting. We then also have Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Man, they have been doing so much to get this story going. This week was such a huge part of it, where I'm sitting here and I'm almost like, I feel like I don't even want to see Gunther again until, if anything, I want Gunther doing a pre-tape where he's just talking smack. I don't need to see him do anything more physical after he's kind of already taken his turns beating down the Usos.
Yeah, his point has been made.
Exactly. So I think this is can be a really good time for him to kind of rest on his laurels, just be like, oh, I'm just focused on my training, this and that. I don't care who shows up. So I think they can really kind of twist the knife with some of that stuff when it comes to Gunther and Jay.
Interesting. Iyo Sky versus Bianca Belair for the Women's World Championship.
They're going to tear the house down, man. They're both so freaking good. They're going to tear the house down. As an Iyo Sky podcast, I obviously hope that she retains. Again, I love Iyo, the fact that it took her since WrestleMania to get a title back, and I was so worried they were going to take it off her on Raw on some bull of some kind or some backdoor deal. I was so worried. So I'm glad that she gets it. She gets to go to WrestleMania, and again, hopefully she will retain.
Yeah, hopefully Iyo does retain the Women's World Championship. Then we have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
This is again, I don't really understand this. I feel like forever ago, AJ said something about Logan, and then they made it sound like they're gonna have a match next week. But then that was the Madison Square Garden thing where he just came out and defended who was it again? Who was the celebrity that Logan pulled out? And then he's like, I'm
Andrew Schultz, the podcaster and comedian.
And then AJ defended Schultz, and then they kind of had this face to face today where Logan got the better of it. Just neither of them are really moving the needle for me right now.
I have to totally agree here. Like, it's just two kind of unlikable guys going against each other. Like, there's not really anybody to root for. You're rooting for AJ because you don't want to root for Logan.
Absolutely.
And then even then, you're just like, okay, all right. And then for the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena.
I'm surprised they actually got physical today. I really didn't think there was going to be any touching, anything until maybe the week before.
Yeah. Like a press conference.
Exactly. And especially like to see Cody kind of get the better of John. I have to assume this will kind of back John further into a corner here.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be surprising to me if we saw a little more unhinged John Cena next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Some more on the mic stuff where he's just going crazy. Yeah, no, that'll be exciting to see. And, we'll be here for all of it. Again, thank you for joining us here on The C Show. Thanks again for joining us on The C Show. If you liked the show, please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share it with your friends. Follow The C Show on social media. We're on Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, and YouTube at cshowpod. That's C as in Charlie, or C as in Connor, SHOWPOD. And if you have a question for us, please send it in, cshowpod@gmail.com. You can find Charlie on Instagram at CharlesFStew and on Blue Sky at CharlesFStewart.com. Connor is on Blue Sky at bsdoj.bluesky.social. The name is Cliff. Thanks to our friends Amir and Patrick for their assistance. The C Show is a production of 832 Media. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll be back next week.